Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Mr. Shifty. On the Switch, of course. Not that much to see out in the menus. You can turn on the HD Rumble, but I'm not on the Joy-Cons right now. I don't even think turning on the HD Rumble makes a difference. I was playing this mainly with the portable mode, with the Joy-Cons, and I couldn't feel any rumble at all. Although it might have been just me like ignoring it, but if there was anything to do with the HD Rumble, I didn't see it. You got your audio and your language options, but there's not much else other than that, so we'll just hop straight on in. So this is after about an hour and a half of gameplay, a little bit less than that maybe. As you can see, I've already done a bunch of the stages, so let's just hop into the latest one and see how we do. Now, before the game actually loads in, there's just something I want to tell you. This game is 3.6 gigabytes on the Switch's memory. So, tell me if you think this game deserves... Whoops. Did not see that coming. I haven't actually played this level, so that was a surprise. So, as I was saying, tell me if you think this game deserves 3.6 gigs on your Switch's memory. Like, I can understand a few hundred meg, sure, but 3.6 gigs for this is just... Whoops. 3.6 gig for this is just horrendous, honestly. Horrendous use of your space. But anyway. The basic idea is that you are Mr. Shifty. You are a thief. And you can teleport. You are pretty much the only thief in the world that can do this. Because the guards seem very surprised at the fact that you can teleport. Notably, we don't actually have any guards right now because the game feels the need to put me through a fucking gauntlet of laser dodging. I hate this shit. They make you do this before too, and it took me like 30 deaths to get through the first time. It's bloody annoying, is what it is, but we'll do it anyway because there's not a single level, and they're not going to be able to get away with doing nothing but like a laser dodging gauntlet for the entire level. They're not going to get away with that, but anyway. Your main abilities are the ability to teleport and to throw punches. You die in one hit, much like Hotline Miami. This game feels like a very direct take on Hotline Miami, just because of that. You die in one hit, but annoyingly, you don't actually kill people in one hit, except if you've got a weapon. If you punch people, it takes 2, which is weird. I mean, I know in Hotline Miami, it took more than one hit to kill people, but at the same time... Shit. Okay, apparently we're actually fighting people who can shift as well now. This is new. So as you can see, it takes 2 hits to kill anyone in this game when you're punching, and you can't actually pick up the guns. Which, it feels weird playing Hotline Miami and not being able to immediately take all their weapons, but I won't argue too heavily against it. It's just a bit odd more than anything else. I'm just waiting for it to actually give me a decent combat section, because there's been tons of them, and now they're just giving me puzzles where I have to avoid missile turrets. Definitely not this way. Might as well talk about the game's performance. For the most part, it's fine, but I'm playing this with the unpatched version, which has the random frame drops that just come out of nowhere. Alright, here we are. So, we need to make our way through and disable the security on this area, but unfortunately we're in an area we can't really shift in, so we need to go take care of that. Just waiting for the game to give me some actual combat sections for once. It's annoying the shit out of me. The combat is not as satisfying as I would have hoped. Mainly because... You know what, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not entirely sure why it's not as satisfying as I hoped, but... It's... Shit. Should have seen that coming. It's not as satisfying as I hoped, just because... Well, it's hard to really come up with a reason for it, I gotta say. This is going to annoy me. I assume I have to blow this up with its own missile before... Yeah, there we go. The combat's obviously trying to take on Hotline Miami, which is what I said before. It's just a bit shit at it, which is the most unfortunate thing. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world to play. Just because of the way some of the levels are designed. Ow. Oop, I just phased through the wall there. Punches aren't as satisfying as they look, I gotta say. Especially when you're fighting big guys like these, because these guys are tanks. And all you can really do is just hit them and run away so that you don't get shot at. It's kind of unfortunate, actually. I don't even get any weapons on this part of the stage, so I can't do one-hit kills. It doesn't have the polish that Hotline Miami has either. Like, it's clearly a lot slower, for one. So, I mean, it kind of has to be, considering that, it's got, like, teleportation going for it, obviously. But it's a bit slower, and that makes it just that tiny bit more unpleasant, because it makes everything take longer, and they have this annoying ability to make the combat, which takes longer, take like 5 minutes, because they insist on throwing waves of enemies at you constantly, and you fuck up once and you have to go right back to the beginning. It's not like Hotline Miami, where if you clear a room completely, that's it. Like, there's no one else will spawn, for the most part. You'll just be done. There are several, like, monster closet rooms in this game where enemies will just be pouring out of the rooms for 5 minutes straight, and if you get hit once, that's it, you're done. Trying to stay alive here, because this is surprisingly complicated. Apparently not. The combat also doesn't have the polish that's present in Hotline Miami, just because there are some weird bugs that can occur from time to time. Like, sometimes the AI will just get stuck in place and it won't know what the bloody hell it's supposed to do. Sometimes, like, you make noise. Like, if you make even one noise, almost everyone will know where you are right away. Even if they're, like, on the other side of the map. It's really annoying at times. Just trying to get away so that you can actually come back and do some damage later on. And there are very few additional things that you can do outside of warping. You can punch a door to send it flying in and try and deal damage to anyone who's waiting on the other side. But after they introduce this, they just kind of forget the concept exists. You do also have a slow-mo meter, which you can see on the bottom of the screen there. What the slow-mo meter does is, if a board gets close to you, when this meter is full, you get it full by basically doing melee chains. Christ on a bike. Once you've filled it up, as soon as a bullet goes past you, slow-mo will immediately kick in. Christ. Slow-mo will immediately kick in, and it lasts for a couple of seconds, at which point you're more or less invincible. There are points where you're not. It's kind of frustrating, because if the slow-mo gets triggered, like there are some yellow guys that basically hold assault rifles. If the slow-mo gets triggered on them, the second bullet will come along and you'll probably die from that. Which is frustrating as hell, I've got to say. And there's just weird things like that. Like, sometimes the AI will just stop dead and just wiggle around like it's sick or something. like, particularly when you've walked through a wall, it'll just vibrate in place really weirdly, and it's kind of odd. And some of the combat situations, like the monster closets I've described, can be extremely frustrating. Just simply because of the way that they work. Having to beat several enemies just in a row over and over again is annoying as shit. I don't know how I managed to destroy that bloody missile turret, but I got it. And there are levels that are just massive pains. Like, there are several areas where you have to warp through these lasers that are constantly sweeping across a floor, and you have to get through them in one shot, and they're frustrating. And there are just some layouts that are designed to kill you the first time until you can figure out how exactly you're supposed to beat them. And the situations in this game that are good just are fairly outranked by situations which really suck. Right, there we go. Another thing that this game doesn't have going for it that games like Hotline Miami do is the theme. You are this thief, and I was hoping to have something more interesting in the way of a theme, but it's just dull. Like, it's a really dull style, and you see it over and over again. Like, this is legit one of the most boring bloody graphic styles I could imagine for a game like this. It just all looks so dark and dull. It's kind of frustrating just how bad it all looks, actually. Combine this with writing that I'd be personally embarrassed to write. It feels like low-tier comic book trash more than anything else. It's really not good. Like, it is honestly some of the worst writing I've read in the game for a while. It just seems overly full of itself, and it tries to make jokes, but they're more like finger quotes jokes. It's just dull. It's really dull. Oh, come on, there's even more? This is often what combat devolves into. Just warping in, getting a couple of hits, and warping away, since a fair few levels barely have anything in the way of weapons. It's a bit strange, actually. There we go. I have a weapon now. Weapons, however, unlike weapons in Hotline Miami, these die within a few hits. So, yeah, that took 3 hits to die. You do also get weapons that you can throw for one-hit kills, but they are quite hard to aim. In this game, it's kind of hard to tell where exactly you're going to be punching if you're, like, surrounded by dudes. Like, if you've got just one dude and you can aim your aimer towards him, that's fine, but considering how almost invisible that bloody aiming cursor can turn, it's kind of frustrating just having to swing away and hope that you hit what you're going for. So here's the slow mode I was telling you about. That slow motion mode is actually kind of annoying because you can't trigger it when you want to. Kind of frustrating. So now I basically just have to leg it because there's no way I'm going to survive this if I don't just run, but of course I immediately died. Also, apparently the audio hasn't died. It's just really muffled for some reason. I guess this is an effect of the, I guess it's an effect of the, shift suppressor, whatever it is. That just seems unnecessary more than anything else. I have been having performance problems, but I mean, they have said that they've been trying to patch those, but there is another couple of bugs that I've had in this game. Like, the major one that I've had is that I've ended up in rooms where nobody will spawn, but all the exits are locked. And I've had to go and actually look it up on YouTube. This has happened twice, by the way. And it turns out that the enemies I was supposed to fight in a room just never bothered to spawn. So I've had to restart the entire stage. Thankfully, the stages are fairly short. I mean, we've already done one in the entire process of, in this video. We've done more than one in this video already. But still, it's frustrating, because I was standing there for 5 minutes thinking, what the fuck have I done wrong now? But it turns out I hadn't done anything wrong. They just forgot to spawn the enemies because they were bloody idiots. Right, this is going to be quite difficult, because I have to step on the mine, then I have to warp, then I have to warp again, then I have to wait for the mine to go off. Now I have to get shot. Yep. I just find myself getting more frustrated at this game the more I play it. It just seems... What's the word? I mean, it really does feel like a clone of Hotline Miami. That's basically what it is. More or less. I would have way more fun playing Hotline Miami than I would these games. It's just all these little things, the lack of polish, the combat not feeling particularly good, not having things like guns or anything to work with, just like... Not having guns or anything to work with, just having the ability to shift. It feels like a, Jesus. It feels like a, what's the word? It just feels like a waste of my time, more than anything else. I mean, seriously, this level of graphical fidelity is not called for 3.6 gig. It's driving me nuts that this game is so big. I'm not entirely sure what compression they're using, but they're not using it to its fullest effect. I can guarantee that. It really is just like warp in, punch, warp back. Warp in, punch, warp back. Warp in, miss the warp, because it's also controlled by the way you're pointing the analog stick, which can get you in trouble. Warp in, punch, and punch him so hard he flies into the wall. Friendly fire is also surprisingly hard to pull off in this game. Like, it is a thing, but it's so inconsistent as to what seems to kill enemies and what doesn't in terms of friendly fire, that I don't even bother using it. Like, it'd be great if you could get the big punchy dudes to do friendly fire, but I don't think you can. And that kind of sucks. There is, of course, the idea that you can time attack this game. Shit, I'm gonna have to do that entire room again now. Yep. There is, of course, the ability to time attack, which is, well, not the worst thing in the world. I guess you can punch through walls. You're required to do this at one point, just FYI. Also, you can't actually, like, hold the punch button to do them. Oh. I don't know how or why that exploded, but apparently it did, and I'm probably gonna get screwed by it. Yep, there's the punch. Well, you can pick up the mines. Not entirely sure what you do with them, but you can pick them up. Not entirely sure if it was the flamethrower the thing that killed me, but yeah, this really does feel like just a, well, that happened. This really does feel like just a low-grade Hotline Miami clone. I really don't have anything else to say about it. I'll just stop playing once the, I'll just stop playing once, we've finished this stage. Oh, those explode if you hold on to them for too long. Right. I mean, it makes sense. I was just a little surprised. You can peek with the right stick, but I found that that doesn't come in handy very often. Okay, so I can shift now, which will get me out of the way of some trouble. But now I have to, oh. There we go. Now I have to figure out how to do this here. I'm not going to be able to get that to the thing in time. Boom. Now to run for it. Okay, the majority of them just killed themselves, but I still managed to get shot anyway, and now I have to do the entire bloody thing again. This isn't fun in the way Hotline Miami is fun, it's just frustrating. Let's pour through here, let them come to me. You bastards. Punch the wall. What the hell is that? See what I mean about the AI being literally retarded? I mean, I know Hotline Miami or games of its ilk. Really? Really? Fucking wall, are you serious? Let's go punch that out so I've got room to shift. There goes my dog. There we go. Well, I've got slow-mo. I don't know how that's going to help me out, but... Punch the wall. Nope, he's not going to explode this time. That's good. You die now. Stop dying, you idiots. It's funny, I keep dying. Hopefully this will be the final part of this level. Yeah, there's the elevator. Stop, Mr. Shifty, or I'll kill you personally. Yeah, as I said, writing, not great. Just throw it there. So there's the slow motion. Whoa. Alright. Let's give this another shot. Oh dear. Did I just throw that mine through the door? I did, didn't I? that, throw it against the wall. Warp in, punch. Punch. Run away. Punch. Okay, we've got one more, and this will give me a one-hit kill if I can get close enough. There we go. So that was a look at Mr. Shifty. If you couldn't tell, I don't really like it at all. It's not great. It feels like a low-rate clone of a much better game. I find myself getting more and more frustrated the more I play it. It just seems relatively unbalanced. Combine that with its large size and relatively buggy state, which they might fix. I can't really recommend it. I find it hard to enjoy this game at all, so there you go. This has been Blue Maxima. I'll wait for the menu to load. I wonder what the game's gonna pick as a I wonder what YouTube's gonna pick as a thumbnail for this video, because it tends to pick some weird choices, I tell ya, but oh well. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.